Afternoon, Mr. Walker.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Mystery Elder. We got you recording you here, and just want to.
You got what?
We're recording right now, and want to find out if you had anything to say about the sin rehab. With this people, you think we on target with providing information and a platform for people to come and talk about how hard it is to keep the law. Have you been watching any of the Israelites or what's going on in the Israelite kingdom?
I've been watching your pages.
Okay, all right.
I'm on top. I've kept up with them every night. I go in and see what you posted.
That's what I said. Do you think they're on target, or what? Can you got anything to say about sin? Why people sinning? You got any explanation? Because you're an elder. We talking to elders, getting wisdom from elders, and we just thought if you had time, you would offer us some information on what's wrong with the world, and why the world is, feel like they can't stop sinning or in the condition that it's in. If not, we glad you answered, and but if so, we'd love to have just a few words from you.
Well, I would say that people sin because of lack of knowledge. It's not that they don't know right from wrong, but it's the choices that they make.
Mm-hmm.
And they're caught up in the world and the worldly pleasures more so than in the spirit of walking right and following the laws to make their life better. They know, but they still break them.
You saying all the church people do they know all the laws of the Bible? And all the young people that's in the world today that's sinning and living in perilous times. You saying all those people already know?
I believe that they've read the word, they have a knowledge of, but they don't care.
So most of the children and the youngsters today, they read the Bible, but they just don't care.
It's mostly what is pleasurable, what feels good, what looks good, and following after other people. The dress codes and everything all come from the world.
Right. All right then. Well, we appreciate.
That's the way I understand it today.
Okay. Do you got any? That's your understanding. And have you read the Bible?
Yes, I have read the Bible.
And that's the understanding you got from the Bible.
That's an understanding that I got from the Bible.
Okay.
That we have to walk. We have to do what's right, and everybody knows right from wrong.
You think so?
But it's the mind that they don't choose to change the mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about what feel good, what look good, okay. But it's not good for you.
Okay. So you saw in your time, you saw it move. What can you tell me about from what's different from your childhood to watching the children today? What's the difference? I mean, is it a big difference? Is it a difference?
It's a big difference from when I grew up, because when I grew up as children, I had sisters and brothers, and our parents kept us in close range. When we went someplace, they knew, and it was seldom that you went, and then you had a certain time that you had to return, and if you didn't, there were consequences. So it was more obedience.
So you said they taught the children to be obedient to they taught the children to be more obedient to the parents. Why is that?
Probably the way they was brought up. They could only give us what they had, and it was stricter back then than it is now.
I hear you said you use the word stricter. What made it? Why were they stricter? What was happening in their world that made them be stricter on their kids?
I would say they were protecting us.
Mm-hmm. Tim, can you explain more what that is?
They didn't tell you what from, but the way it was, you weren't allowed to go many places. And yes, we went to the church. We was in a Baptist church, but you didn't sit up and play, and you didn't sit on the back row. You had to be within eyesight, and if you did something out of the ordinary, I've seen this happen to some of my friends. It never happened to me because I didn't. I knew better, and their mother would get up and come back to where they were sitting at and bend over and talk to them a little bit. You didn't know what she said, and then she would go back up on that front of second row, and you didn't hear or see nothing else out of them.
So you said they would. What's the moral to that story?
What's the moral to the story is that if you didn't do what you was told to do, you was gonna get punished.
Okay.
And they didn't wait until they got you home.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you what she did to her children if you wanted to know. I didn't know what she did until much later, and then I found out that she would literally sit beside them and pinch on their arm.
Okay. So.
And then she would go back, and you didn't hear nothing else out of them. You would see them sitting there beside you and see tears coming out their eyes.
So they chastised their children right then for certain things did that help? Did that help? Do you think that made that?
It helped when you was in their eyesight, because you knew if you didn't, there was something else was going to happen to you.
But you don't think that helped towards raising the child to have better behavior?
I think it helped, rather than let them get away with it, because they would keep on doing it every time they knew they could get away with it. And you weren't looking, but when you check them, then they know that something's going to happen. If my mama see me, she's going to get me. And it's not like today we promise our children, I'm going to whip you or I'm going to do this, but no, we spared a rod.
So are you saying that's how you raised your children? You didn't raise them the way your parents told you to raise you. You spared the rod and let your child get away with a lot. Your children, did you practice those same practices and discipline?
I did not spare the rod, but really I didn't have to do too much. My children will tell you today they don't remember me getting them too many times, but I talked to them. I explained everything, and they followed pretty much. Every now and then I might have to get a little switch, but it wasn't much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you saying talk to the children. You did better talking than your parents did to you.
Yes, because my parents didn't explain nothing. If you was wrong or they thought you was wrong, it was like, go out there and break me a switch.
Uh-huh.
Then I had a fear, you had to break your own switch. And if you come with it too small, you had to go back, and you didn't want to make it too big because you knew it was going to hurt. So that right there was punishment.
I agree. So you're saying they whooped more without explaining, and so you think, and so you explain more and less physical punishment.
I always, and if I was going to give them a little spanking, I told them exactly why.
So what we trying to really track down how the people is. Do you think the people got worse or they got better?
Today?
Yeah. Do you think discipline have a lot to do with the condition of the people, the young people today, the people
I
that
think
we know we believe there's people that are breaking God's covenant, and we
I
know.
think discipline helps, but what I see today, the children tell their parents what to do and what they want and when they want it, and the parents let them have it that way.
And
They don't
what do you think?
children raising themselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you think about these churches that's in opposition of the Israelites? The church people too. You know, you got church people that are saying that they are teaching false doctrine, and the Israelites are going. You know, we did a little video on that the other day. They were knocking on. They were going standing out and trying to talk to the people as they came out of church about the doctrine. Do you think that the people are 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 sinning, or you think they are sinning by not keeping the laws and commandments of God, or is that just something's been done away with and the Israelites are trying to make a name for themselves?
It's not done away with,
Mm-hmm.
but people have choices,
Mm-hmm.
and people are set in their ways,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not subject to change.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the churches should do how they think or what they read, and that they should not be critical of the men that are Israelites and how they live.
Now the Israelites, they say they've been commissioned to go into all nations and and uh, and to share the news that the black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, the people that were on slave ships, either out of America, out of the Northern King, out of the North America, or either brought to North America and scattered all around America. They say they are the Israelites based on that. And so as the prophets of God in the last day, they were commanded to go and prophesy to the wicked, even the pastors, and they use the scriptures, woe unto the pastors who scatter the flock. And they use those scriptures and saying the churches have said that the laws have been done away with, and you yourself just said, and
the laws from the beginning to the end, and everything there was there for a reason and a purpose.
Okay, and that's what the Israelites are saying. So it sounds like you believe what they believe. Most Bible,
I believe that.
Yeah, most
but
Bible
as
readers.
For them going and doing what God commissioned them to do, they walk and they do that, but everybody is not going to receive it. But you have given it out. So then you move on, and you keep on doing what you was commissioned to do.
Well, can you think of any way, you're a Bible reader, where the prophets of old went to the people who, I guess we would say, who had Hellenized themselves and gathered up their people and told them, okay, let's assimilate into this custom of the enemy. We just accept being their slave, and we'll take their religion and explain it to the people like they explained it to us, regardless of what the prophets are out there teaching. Do you think that ever happened anywhere else in history, the history of the Israelites and going in and out of captivities?
Probably did.
Yeah, that's what the whole. Yeah, that's all they did. That's all they did.
Even the wilderness experiences, they all didn't do what they was told to do in that. Once they got across the Red Sea, I guess fear set in, or wanted to do things their own way, and they gave Moses a lot of trouble.
But then Moses died.
Yes, he did. And then they went on to the promised land, and some followed and some went their way.
You said what?
Some followed.
What do you mean?
After the custom, and some didn't choose to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the wars and the battles and things begin to come in.
No, I think what happened is with the wars that the Israelites were fighting, if you remember, what happened is God told them to rid the Canaanites and those other tribes out of that part of the land that he had gave Israel while they were in captivity for 400 years. That was all the fighting was. The fighting was about. They didn't want to obey God and get out of give the people their land back. So that
right.
they
so
was
they had to go in and take it.
they was coming out of Egypt, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, a lot of people miss that though. That's a common miss. That's a common miss right there. They don't know why the Israelites are fighting, so they said, okay, the Israelites went in and fought people and took their land. No, they did what God told them to do to get that land back.
Right. That's what God said.
They could have left
and possess it.
Yeah,
it's yours.
Yeah, that's yours. He already had set the boundary for the land. He already had set the boundaries for the land. You know.
Yeah, that was the promise.
Deuteronomy 32. You read, and then he said he gave everybody their land and their gods and stuff. So yeah, okay, well, sounds like you are. But what do you think about these people who say they can't stop sinning? Is that real? Is that the truth? Is it impossible to give up a habit, to break a habit?
No.
Do you know anything about?
It's not impossible, but it has to come from it's an inside job. It has to come from the heart.
Well, do you know any professional information about that? I mean, have you had any experience with anybody addiction and rehab? You had any experience with that? You've ever seen a person addicted and then addicted on something, and then go to rehab and come out and changed?
I seen some, and I seen some that didn't, and they end up going just like in the wilderness. The spirits end up coming right back and getting in the same circle.
What about the people
trying to work through it again?
What about? So you saying did they ever work through it? Yeah, that's what I want. I want some success stories.
There were some positives.
Can you tell me about them? Tell the people about them.
Well, I worked in that area in mental health.
So you saying addiction and rehab is mental?
Years.
So you saying addiction and rehab is mental health, is a mental health area, right?
Yes.
Okay, you go ahead, continue. You said you worked there for 30 years.
It has to do with the mind, and the mind has to be reprogrammed and rechanged, and you have to get away from the old things and the old people. It's like you got to have a whole new environment. You can't come in. You can come in and stay for 3 months and go out feeling good, looking good, okay. But then you go right back where you left from, because I can imagine it's hard to find people to get along with. So you end up going back across the railroad track where you was, and after you hang out for a little while, it just rubs off, and the next thing you know, you're right back in the same position.
Well, give me some personal experience of anything you've tried to, if you have any, if you're care to share anything you had to give up. Have you had to give up anything that other people say is become an addiction to them?
I don't understand what you mean. What
do you have any habits that you had to use this method that you're talking about to try to break? You said you worked for 30 years and you believe the methods of those rehabbing addictions. We're talking about.
I've listened to a lot of stories, and from the men.
Mm-hmm. Well, that'll work.
And actually, pretty much what we were taught to do was to turn the question around and asked them, how would you go about fixing this? We were not to give them the answers and then let them come out of their own, their own mind and talk about it.
But we talk.
That worked a lot.
I'm sure it did. But what we're talking about here is something sin. We're talking about sin. Any sin. We don't have. It's not have to be a substance or drugs or alcohol. Is it possible to stop sinning? Anything? Have you did any sin that you say, hey, I got to stop doing this?
When I was in the world, but after I came into the knowledge of Jesus Christ and was baptized, and my whole life changed, and the things that I used to do, which was not really a lot because you weren't raised to do it, didn't get to it, I just didn't do it, and it didn't bother me.
And and then so now once we say we tell the children or elders or whoever we got a lot of elders that's sinning and don't know they are sinning. You know what I mean? They say, well, we didn't do nothing, and that's kind of like not picking on you, not using you as an example, but you the perfect example. You say I never sinned, but we're saying that the Israelites must come back and find out what is sin, because we never was taught what sin is. As Israelites, as people, as slaves, the Edomites gave us a list of what they call sin. They call them the UCC codes. You break into these laws, we're gonna lock your butt up. That's sin.
Well, it's doing wrong, and you know it's wrong. That's sin.
But you won't know. The Bible said the heart, which is the mind, is deceitful continuously. No man can know it. That's the mind. So unless you actually have a list of the sins, then you won't know if you're breaking God's law or not, unless you got his list of sins, laws that because see, for one, you say, well, okay, well, fringes. Where are my fringes?
Right.
Where my pork at? Do I eat pork? Do I eat any unclean foods? How do I treat my brothers and sisters? Well, we know the law as far as the sacrificial law, what Jesus was sent here to do, that's been done away with. The priestly part has been done away with because he did that. But there's other things that Israelites aren't doing that's keeping them in captivity. Looking at it from the Deuteronomy 28, because if all these curses are on us, it's only because what I'm trying to show people, and I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. That the reason why these curses are on you is because you're not keeping these laws in the first 5 books of the Bible, the Mosaic law. The Mosaic law. And like when you say a lot of the elders say, okay, well, I learned the right way how to treat people and everything. They've learned that, but a lot of the youngsters don't know that how you treat your brother is in the Bible. The right way to treat him and the wrong way is in the Bible, brothers and sisters. And how you live your life, coming away from the customs of your captors is in the Bible. That's in the Bible. So I guess we're going to just have to go back and start reading these laws to the people, because what you just said was profound.
Okay.
What you just said was profound. I'm going to let you go because I think you done went to your kitchen and I'm getting a lot of noise here. I'm getting a lot of noise. I'm getting a lot of noise, so I'm going to let you go, sis. And we appreciate you, and you helped the body of Christ a lot. So God bless you here.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, you even got some noise. Praise God for that word. All right, this microphones, they pick up everything, man. They pick up so much. If I can hear it, then the mic picks it up. So Well, that was good. We appreciate her, and we're gonna get more elders on here to talk, and because what we are doing now, we're taking inventory. We're actually doing the research. So when the people come and say, well, if they ever come and say we didn't do nothing to them people, those people, we just only thing we did, we was brought over here and was born over here as American alongside those Israelites, and we didn't do nothing to them. Well, we have thousands and thousands of cases, not a thousand, hundreds of thousands of cases of abused and broken people based on the system you set up. And and it's a sin system. Eugenics was set up to keep us out of fellowship with God. Because if you don't know who you are, you won't know that you got a contract to keep with God made by your ancestors. And if you don't keep it, you will be cursed. You will live a cursed life. And we're going to read some of those curses on the next show. Blessings and curses. We're going to look for that. We'll put it in the back screen. Blessing and curses. We're going to go through Deuteronomy 28. Because people don't know what sin is. They don't know when they are sinning. They'll tell you, I was good from a child. But they never wore fringes. Did they? They never wore fringes. Now, I don't think the sister eat pork. She'll tell you, I don't think she eat none of that. She cleaned her diet up. But there's a lot of Israelites who think they're living right and don't know when they come back, they're going to get thrown in the lake of fire for eating pork. It's a lot of things we got to go back and do that's real easy. The ones we think is the hardest is the simplest, and it ain't that many of them. We're doing the rest of them. Most of the time, we're trying to do the rest of them. We're working on it, and that's what we're here for. So God bless you, and thank the mystery elder for sharing, making herself vulnerable to questions, and we'll see you again real soon. Shalom.